for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Jeff Renahan, First Ward.
Bill Carlos, Second Ward.
Michael Safone, 4th Ward.
Stefan Krakauer, 5th Ward.
Ann Schurshin, 6th Ward.
Alicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Jim Nelson, attorney for the town.
Sarah Ryan, Vandewater and Vandewater.
John Bailey, Town Supervisor. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for attending tonight's meeting. On tonight's meeting, item number 1 is going to be a public hearing on a towing law. Item 2, block party for Hollow Lane. 3, set date for a public hearing for a stormwater annual report. 4, authorize a tax cert, Poughkeepsie CTYD. 5, authorize a tax cert for SPAC and Partners. 6, authorize an IDA support for AP Packaging, 900 Dutchess Turnpike. We have 3 special consents. Resolution 1 is a temporary outdoor dining facility sidewalk seating. 2 is to set a date for a public hearing for Cablevision of Wapengers Falls, Inc., DBA Altice. SC3, authorize supervisor to sign EFG Sabre sewer use agreement, accept the temporary easements. With that, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for any item on the agenda except for the public hearing of the towing law. That'll be after we take care of the other ones.
So, second.
Got a motion and a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anybody who'd like to speak on any items from 2 through the special consents?
I don't see anybody raising their hand from what I can see. Captain, did you want to say something? Your box is lit up. I don't think so, Jay.
No? Okay, not
Nope.
motion to resume the rules?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to open public hearing number 1 on the towing law.
So moved.
Motion, we get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody who'd like to speak on the towing law, this is the time to speak. We ask everybody to please keep their comments to 3 minutes, and the town clerk will let you know when to stop and when you have a minute left. Anybody like to speak on the towing law? This is their time to speak.
I'd like to speak if I have a moment.
Go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Coleman.
My name is Christopher Coleman. I'm an attorney in Poughkeepsie. Represent Frank and Eric Rattle, Dutchess Towing and Rattles Towing. Earlier this afternoon, I sent a letter over to the town clerk. I believe she transmitted that to the board members. I believe this is the 3rd or so iteration of the proposed tow law. I note, I won't restate what's in the letter. You have that and the attachments with it. I'd appreciate if the board members would take the time to carefully review that and consider it. We note that certain issues we had have been addressed in a way we think is meaningful and satisfactory, but there are a number of issues that remain, we feel, that need to be addressed in a manner that balances the interest of the stakeholders and that of the town and customers as well. What we are hopeful, tonight's meeting will be kept open, but the board will consider the contents of that letter and the concerns raised therein, that a meeting can be had between ourselves, other stakeholders in the town attorney, if Mr. Nelson cares to join, where we can discuss the remaining issues and hopefully reach an accommodation that satisfies respective interests of all involved. The law as it's currently drafted, we feel does not adequately address certain of the concerns or balance them. And we would prefer to resolve those issues in an amicable fashion and not have to seek judicial intervention to address concerns which we know are going to have to be resolved that way if we're not able to resolve them among ourselves. We're hopeful to avoid that if possible. We have had prior meetings where I think it was constructive and some good work got done, and we're hopeful that again with this iteration the town will take advantage of this opportunity to meet with us and the other stakeholders and work with us to try to resolve the concerns that remain. If any of the board members have any particular questions for me with respect to the letter or anything else, I'm happy to address those either now or at a meeting. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Coleman, if,
Yes.
if I might, you made a suggestion as far as the timing of this. Was that in relation to deciding or the hearing or both?
I'm sorry, the timing of,
The
follow.
consideration of this and the determination of it. I wasn't listening that carefully. I think you suggested, and you may have in your letter as well, that this be adjourned. Was that correct?
I do. I did request at the outset that this public hearing be kept open, put it that way, so that we have an ample opportunity to try to work together to resolve this. If the town were to vote tonight, the door would be shut and we each have to proceed as we deem appropriate. I don't know that it's necessary that that vote be taken tonight. I would be hopeful the board would consider our position and certainly the contents of the letter that I submitted and keep the public hearing open and arrange for a meeting, again, not just with us, but other towers who are present tonight, I see, other stakeholders, so that we can all work together. And I would note that it's a path that I pursued with on behalf of other clients in other municipalities, and it's proved to be constructive and helpful. And in those municipalities, ultimately, we were able to resolve these issues. And I'm hopeful the town of Poughkeepsie will take advantage of this opportunity and follow that same path.
Anybody else? Felicia, anybody else out there?
I have garage user holding his hand up.
All right.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bob Gorman, Gorman's Garage, and actually now president of the Empire State Towing and Recovery Association. I'm quite pleased at what I see, what the town has gone through. I know this has been a long process, but there's a couple of things that were left out that I think are extremely important. One being under New York's page 6, under compensation, workers' comp. I think it's imperative that the listed drivers for the rotation list have workers' comp on them as contractual, under the contract of this tow ordinance, New York State workers' comp law, there's a certain section under vendors and contractors, and that's how we fall under. And we have gotten in, some of our members have gotten into situations where the tower on somebody else's property did not have workers' comp, whether that's the owner or executive, which we used to be able to be exempt, no longer is the case with that, so that the owners cannot exempt themselves on that. And that's a big issue. I don't particularly agree with it, but that's workers' comp law. Typically, if you go onto a corporation such as a FedEx, they require everybody on their property to have workers' comp as a contractor. So that's just one thing. And then in the back, page 9, under equipment required, again, you required 2 full or part-time employees, which was good. However, you still said a tow truck and or a flatbed. So we still need the recovery capability of a tow truck and a lifting boom. We still need the towing capability of a flatbed. And also, I think it should also be on the heavy list, 2 trucks as well. Typically, you wouldn't want to have to charge a class 3 medium truck a class 8 tow. So you wouldn't necessarily go out to tow a box truck, a small box truck, 12,000 pound GVW box truck with a class 8 10-wheel tow truck if you didn't have to. Therefore, it'd be better for the public as well. So.
Excuse me, what page are you talking about,
lastly,
Mr. Gorman? What page?
Page 9.
9?
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
goes on
9
to
to
10.
10.
9 to 10.
So take out the and or on the tow truck flatbed and just make it and.
You're approaching 3 minutes, Bob.
Okay. And the last thing under definitions, Article 1, page 1, I thought that was very good, except for consensual towing. I've never seen consensual towing and private property towing in the same sentence. I think that's an error. The emergency situations, if it's an emergency situation ordered by police or fire, then it becomes a non-consensual tow. I think that should be stricken. Other than that, I think it's pretty good. It's 95% there. I'm done.
Thank you. Anybody else?
You got anybody else, Felicia?
Not a minute, I got it. I don't see anybody's hand raised. You can start to speak and then your box will light up if you'd like to speak. Melissa, are you interested in speaking? No, that was an accident. I don't see anybody else that wants to speak.
No? Going once? Going twice? Nobody else wishing to speak?
Doesn't look like it at this time. Thanks for asking slowly.
Okay.
Read this one?
No, we're gonna close the hearing.
You wanna close or you wanna leave it open?
I think we should close it. We're not voting tonight, so.
No. Do you want comments? Do you want, it's your choice of
If
the
you
board.
close the public hearing, you
Hold
have
on,
to
Felicia,
start all
we're
over again.
Felicia, we're having a
With it.
discussion right now. Hold on.
Okay, sorry, I'll be quiet.
I think we should close the public hearing. The board can
Close the
still
public hearing.
continue to look at this, but
Okay.
I think at this
Yeah.
point, based on,
I agree
Where
with
we're at.
Stefan. We
Okay.
close the public hearing, but we may have some
now.
changes here because,
all right, let's close the public hearing, but not take a vote tonight would be
Okay.
my
yeah,
suggestion.
no vote.
Okay.
Because I'm seeing discrepancies between,
Okay.
okay, so I wanna make sure we have the right version and it has everything that has to be in it. For example, our version had workers' compensation specifically in it, and it's not in it now.
I make a motion, we close the public hearing at this time?
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Closing the public hearing, we will not vote on the law tonight. We'll go back with all the advisement of all the different people have given us and come back at a date to be determined on how we're gonna move forward.
Okay, so the date when this will be on for a vote after consideration of the comments is a date that will be announced as part of the agenda, is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
but you-
Yeah,
so you-
it'll have to be a set date for public hearing again.
No,
No,
no.
it's not.
No.
Oh, sorry,
No.
sorry. Well, if you make substantial changes, wouldn't it have to
Substantial, we
be-
understand that, Felicia. Right now,
Okay,
we-
just checking.
Yeah, we're just closing the
Okay.
public hearing for now. We are gonna go under review and advisement of all the comments that were made tonight, and then
That's fine.
we'll make our
That's fine.
decision and come back.
That's fine.
Yep. That takes care of the public hearing. On to item number 2. Jeff?
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby approve the application submitted by Dora Celestino on behalf of Spaghill High School Football Booster Club to hold a block party on Hollow Lane, Poughkeepsie, New York, on June 21st, 2021, from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m., and does hereby authorize the town of Poughkeepsie Police Department, Traffic Division, Highway Department to close said street, but allowing access for emergency vehicles from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m., and be it further resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby waive the open container law in the event alcoholic beverages are to be served. So moved.
second.
We have a motion
Thank
and
you.
second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Bill?
Resolution number 3. The town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby set May 5th, 2021 at 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may come to be heard in the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Over Rock Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, as the date, time, and place for a public hearing to accept public comment on a draft stormwater annual report. And be it further resolved, the searchable draft stormwater annual report prepared by the town engineer shall be filed in the town clerk's office and posted on the town website for review by any interested party on April 30th, 2021. And be it further resolved that the town board will accept public comment on the draft stormwater annual report commencing on May 5th, 2021 and ending on May 14th, 2021 at 4 p.m. And be it further resolved that the contact person for this report is Robert Bozick, Department of Planning, 1 Over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, whose email is Robert Bozick at townofpoughkeepsie-ny.gov. And be it further resolved that the town clerk is authorized to direct immediate published notice of the public hearing and comment period. And be it further resolved, the town board does direct the Director of Municipal Development to review any comments on the draft stormwater annual report and file the final report by June 1st, 2021. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be resolved, the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby authorized a settlement of tax certiorari proceedings initiated by Poughkeepsie Courtyard for property located at 2642 South Road, lot number 134689-60669-02-9998863 with the 2019 and 2020 tax assessment roll, as shown in the attached consent judgment. And be it further resolved, the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby authorized a supervisor or his designee, Town Assessor Jennifer Mund and Kyle Barnett of Vanderwater and Vanderwater LLP, to sign such papers as necessary to effectuate such settlement. So moved.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the settlement of the tax certiorari proceedings instituted by SPAC and Partners LLC for property located at 56 Enterprise Drive, 134-689-606-04-922413-0000 for the 2020 tax assessment roll as shown on the attached consent judgment. And be it further resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor or his designee, Town Assessor Jennifer Mund and Kyle Barnett of Vanderwater and Vanderwater LLP, to sign such papers as are necessary to effectuate said settlement. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on this one?
I see a note here, refunds have been waived as part of the settlement.
Yes.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Okay. Be it enacted by the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie, New York, the town as follows. Whereas Poughkeepsie Industrial Park LLC, a New York limited liability company having its principal office at 10 Allegheny Cross, Monroe, New York 10950, the company has applied to Dutchess County Industrial Development Agency, the agency, requesting certain financial assistance within the means of Section 85414 of the Act, including potential exemptions from certain sales and use taxes, real property taxes, real estate transfer taxes, and mortgage recording taxes, collectively the financial assistance, in connection with the project consisting of A, the acquisition of one parcel of land located in the town of Poughkeepsie, County of Dutchess, State of New York, as follows. An approximately 58.3 acre parcel located at 900 Dutchess Turnpike, bearing tax map grid number 13-468-9-6301-60-000, the land, with 3 existing structures, a 2-story, 353 square foot structure, building A 1-story, 10,455 square foot structure, building B, and a 1-story, 4,349 square foot structure, building C. The renovation and reconstruction of the portion of building A to accommodate the company's manufacturing operation, which will occur approximately 165 square feet from building A. The structure of 12 loading docks comprising of approximately 3,000 square feet, and the overhead garage doors on the east wall of building A, and auxiliary site renovations, including modifications to the existing parking area to accommodate truck loading and landscaping of the land, collectively the improvements. The acquisition and equipping of certain equipment, not part of equipment as the term defined herein, the facility equipment, and together the land and improvements, the company facility, which company facility is to be leased and subleased by the agents to Poughkeepsie Industrial Park LLC, a New York State limited liability company, the company, and further subleased to the company to Air Protection Packaging Co-op, a New York State business corporation, the subleasee, and the acquisition and installation of certain equipment and personal property, the equipment, and together with the company facility, the facility, which equipment is to be leased by the agency to the subleasee, and which facility is to be used by the subleasee as office, warehousing, and manufacturing space, and a portion of which is to be subleased in whole or in part by the company to commercial tenants to be used as office, warehousing, and manufacturing space, the project. Whereas in connection with the undertaking of the project, the company will execute and deliver certain lease and protection agreement, the lease agreement, by and between the agency and the company, pursuant to which the company will, among other things, agree to pay certain payments in lieu of taxes, pilot, which with respect to the project. Whereas the proposed pilot payment terms under the agreement constitute a deviation from the agency's uniform tax exemption and criteria policy, the policy, whereas prior to entering into the agreement for pilot payments which deviate from the policy's standard payment terms, the agency requests that the company attempt to obtain written consent of all the affected tax jurisdictions, and whereas the company requests the town of Poughkeepsie through its town board as one of the affected tax jurisdiction with respect to the project, adopt a resolution indicating whether the town board agrees to the terms of the proposed lease agreement with regard to pilot payments attached hereto as Schedule B. Now therefore be resolved by the town board as follows. Section 1, the town board hereby acknowledges notification of the proposed deviation from the agency's policy, waives any formal notices from the agency of the proposed deviation from the agency policy, and approves the pilot payment terms and other conditions to be contained in the lease agreement as substantially described in Schedule A and B attached. Section 2, this resolution will take effect immediately. The resolution was duly seconded by, and the resolution was adopted by a vote of roll call. So moved.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any?
Who seconded that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Mike did.
Mike,
Mike, and I'll do a roll call vote.
yeah, wait,
I'm
wait.
gonna say Jeff Renahan.
No, hold on, Felicia.
Sorry.
Any comments on this, Jeff?
We are actually, by this document, approving the acceptance of the pilot.
Correct.
Has the IDA hasn't voted on this then yet?
No, they vote tomorrow morning, Stefan. They won't vote without us sending something over to them.
Okay.
They're in front of them tomorrow morning.
So are the terms of the pilot set? Are the terms of the pilot set?
Yes. It's have to be voted on tomorrow.
And the IDA is the one doing that?
Yep. And once they vote, the IDA becomes part owner of the property. They become part owner. That's how it becomes tax exempt. And they have agreed, in part of this agreement, to pass on $75,000 to the town for recreation.
Yep.
To use for programs. Anybody got anything else? Felicia?
Yes. Okay, Jeff Renahan,
Aye.
Bill Carlos,
Aye.
Mike Saffone,
Aye.
Councilman Krakauer,
Aye.
Jan Shershin,
Aye.
Jay Baisley.
Aye. The only thing I can
Thank
say
you.
is with, as you saw these tax certs that were prior, a lot of these are businesses in the town that, one happens to be a building that has had a major issue in the last 10 years not being able to fill. And the other one was a hotel that during the pandemic wasn't as full as it was. And this is actually a company that, as I've stated before, I think is something we can use moving forward as opposed to retail. They're decent paying jobs, and being the fact they're making bubble wrap, and I've stated before with all this online ordering, I think they're definitely filling a loophole, and this building did have an empty space in it, and the value of the building was a lot less than what they're purchasing it for. So on top of the pilot, they're assessed value will be going up shortly on top of this. So it's definitely is something for the town with 100 employees coming here and so forth. I think it is one of the few that we've had this discussion that it is actually something that definitely qualifies. I think for a pilot to get a company here in Aurora, a company like this, to come to the town to bring some real paying jobs that aren't minimum wage or just retail jobs, which not all retail jobs are bad, but this is definitely something that I think that we could use with a little bit of a skill set to help here. And it's a company that's moved, I think, 3 times in the last 10 years due to growing. They are a financially sound company, so the fact that they should be able to grow and take over spots right now, part of that building is being used by BOCES, and as we all know, BOCES is building a new building and they'll be out of there soon. So that's another vacant spot that hopefully that they can move in as they grow and take that spot over and fill that spot up, which we know has been an issue since many years ago when the manufacturer left that area. That's all I have to say.
Jay, do you know what time their vote is tomorrow?
It's usually like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Bill-
And you have to send them something over before that?
I'll send it over first thing in the morning.
Is the waiver we're signing because we're doing it in out of order? Usually it's the
No, it's always this way. Usually if the IDA does a 10-year regular pilot, we don't have to vote at all. The reason we're voting is because it's the extra 5 years, and that's where we come up with the agreement that they're gonna pay.
But the IDA set all those terms up.
Yep. Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie hereby grants special consent to the following items to wit: 1, resolution temporary outdoor dining facilities sidewalk seating. 2, set a date for a public hearing, Cablevision of Wappingers Falls, Inc., DBA Altice. 3, authorize the supervisor to sign EFG Sabre sewer use agreement, accept temporary easement. And be it further resolved that upon the objection of any member of the town board, an item may be removed from the list and voted on separately. So moved.
Second.
A motion second. Any questions on this? Motion passes 6-0.
Whereas in response to the COVID epidemic and the effort to support the local economy, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie on June 17, 2020, after adopting secret negative declaration, 1, adopted local law number 6 of 2020, creating Town Code 210-109.1 to allow the temporary use of public and private premises for outdoor dining and sidewalk seating, subject to compliance with the conditions contained in local law and the application and requirements appended to it. Cumulatively, the conditions. And 2, authorize the temporary closure by the highway superintendent of 1 lane or portions of College View Avenue, and authorize food establishments to operate outdoor dining facilities thereon as determined by the development director. And 3, authorize the creation pursuant to Town Law 64-2 of common public dine-in areas on College View Avenue or elsewhere on town properties as determined by the supervisor or his designee upon compliance with all required conditions. And whereas in addition to the foregoing, Dutchess County Executive Molinaro by local emergency order number 12 of June 8, 2020, as extended, provided that the town of Poughkeepsie, notwithstanding in its site plan, sidewalk, seating, and outdoor dining code provisions, could authorize the reopening of food service establishments subject to terms and conditions determined by the town, and subject also to state and county regulations and limitations. And whereas local law 210-109.1 is only effective through April 30th, 2021, and the town board wishes to continue to allow temporary outdoor dining and sidewalk seating while the public health emergency continues, and to do so after April 30th, 2021, pursuant to County Local Emergency Order Number 12, subject to compliance by applicants with the conditions. And whereas the continued allowance of temporary outdoor dining and sidewalk seating subject to compliance with condition is a type 2 action under SECRA requiring no environmental review because it represents a continuation of town management with no reordering of priorities or new programs. Now therefore be resolved the effective May 1st, 2021, pursuant to Dutchess County Local Emergency Order Number 12, temporary outdoor dining and sidewalk seating will be permitted in the town of Poughkeepsie through October 31st, 2021, subject to compliance with the conditions and requirements described above. So moved.
Second.
A motion second. Any questions on this one?
Yeah, I think at some point we should move forward in making that allowed just permanently. I mean, in certain places. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it's kind of nice. So I'd like to see it happen.
It's something we,
long-term, not
Stefan,
just in
I agree
small
100%. It's something that we discussed last year. This is more like a trial run to see where it goes. And we
Yep.
just caught that this one was expiring. I agree that some areas and some areas that it's not allowed should be allowed. So I think it's something we should definitely be looking at in a lot of different areas.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Resolution, special consent number 2. Whereas the town of Poughkeepsie contracted with the Cablevision of Wappingers Falls, Inc., DBA Altice USA, Altice, by franchise renewal agreement effective May 16, 2005. The agreement to provide cable television service in the town of Poughkeepsie. Whereas Troy and Banks Consultant LLC, on behalf of the town, performed an audit of the services provided and the payments made by Altice to the town pursuant to the agreement for the years ending December 31st, 2013 and through December 31st, 2018, and found that had underpaid the town $68,888 in franchise fees, which together with New York State statutory interest thereon totals $95,858. The town has given Altice a 60-day notice to either cure the non-payment or provide a cure plan reasonably accepted to the town, which Altice has not done. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Poughkeepsie, Town Board, sets May 5th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Town Hall, 1 Overrocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, 12603, as a time, date, and place of a public hearing at which Altice will be entitled to present evidence and to be heard fully and fairly regarding the underpayment issues. Notice of which hearing shall be provided to Altice and published in the Poughkeepsie Journal by the town clerk. And be it further resolved that the town of Poughkeepsie reserves to itself at the close of the above hearing its right to determine under the agreement and otherwise whether and how to proceed as to the underpayment issue. So moved.
Second.
Yeah, just one correction, Bill just read it as 68,888, and it's 69.
9,000.
Okay, just to correct
Okay.
that.
Okay.
And I also think that the total, pardon me,
95,858.
He wrote.
no, I'm not criticizing your reading.
No.
I'm criticizing my math,
Oh.
which I think should have been 96, 858.
Okay, so I may be a little thick. They didn't pay the franchise fees, and they're still charging all the residents in the town?
No.
They didn't
There's
pay
a
it, no.
debate over DVRs,
It's a debate over DVRs. I didn't see that in
which is
this.
part of the franchise fee.
That the DVRs were not part of the franchise fee.
Correct. Yes, and we're saying they are. And our auditor said they were.
More importantly, Jim Nelson says they are.
Yeah, Jim Nelson says they are too. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Whereas the town of Poughkeepsie has received a request from EFG Sabre for a sewer use agreement for the property located at 3532 North Road, Poughkeepsie, New York. Tax parcel 616303011490000, including lot 4 shown on the map entitled Final Subdivision Plat Hudson Heritage Major Subdivision Section 1, to receive wastewater transmission and treatment services from the 4th Ward Sewer Improvement Area and other town sewer districts and improvements serving the site. And whereas the engineering department and the sewer department have advised that there is sufficient capacity for this particular tendency, and whereas pursuant to the sewer use agreement annexed hereto, EFG Sabre will have the same responsibilities as if in fact was located within the districts and improvements serving the site. And whereas the town board, town of Poughkeepsie recognizes that the development of this site has been the subject of an extensive and completed secret review, which anticipate the provision of municipal wastewater services through the creation of a sewer district, which has been submitted to the state comptroller for approval. And whereas in order to facilitate the transmission of EFG Sabre's wastewater pending the creation of a district, it has, in addition to the tendency, tendered to the town a proposed temporary easement, a copy of which is also annexed here too. Now therefore, be it resolved, the town board, town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor and his designees to execute the sewer use agreement and to accept the temporary easement. both in substantially the form as presented. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on this?
Yeah. Before you vote, Mr. Supervisor, this resolution provides that these documents will be executed in substantially the form presented. The easement in question is one that's, unlike a lot of town easements, is gonna have multiple utilities in it. So we've been meeting with engineering and we're negotiating with Hudson Heritage to make sure that our easements within the broader easement area are, if you will, physically protected and buffered against not impeding our access to them. So that language in there, I think it's paragraph 5, will be modified a bit, but it's going to be for the benefit of the town.
Okay.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. That brings us to the end of the agenda. I'd like to make the motion to suspend the rules for any item at all, and ask people to please limit it to 3 minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody that would like to speak about anything? If
Don't
not,
see any raised hands,
Okay.
but
make a motion to resume the rules.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You got an executive session, John?
Yep. Be it resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby adjourn to executive session to consider the following: discussions regarding proposed, pending, or current litigation, Rattleton and Glenn, to discuss matters which are exempt under open meeting law, including matters subject to attorney-client privilege. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Town board goes into executive session 7:37 PM, and I invite the chief and the highway superintendent to join us in executive session. Thanks,
I
everybody,
think
and have a great
Captain
night.
Cavalier will be with you as well.
And Captain Cavalieri also.